gone over people's heads just how graphically violent it was last night. And this is on Law and Order, and they have the R rating and whatever, but it was extreme violence. And so we've come a long way from Night of the Living Dead.
Well, I mean I gave it's Halloween, so I was giving a talk on the old horror movies, and
Where?
There was at some women's club down at a retirement home. There's a women's society at a retirement home, and they asked me down to come and talk about old movies.
Tonight?
No, that was this afternoon.
Oh, good for you.
And
Do you videotape it?
Nah. Well, it's not much of my talk. I mainly play clips from movies.
Okay.
And which is why I kept my VHSs, because I can't set a DVD on exactly the moment I want to start the movie and then bring it to another machine. I can do that with VHSs, but I can't do that with DVDs. And when I give these talks, I always get the same questions. These movies are so much, less disgusting than the movies today. And my answer is, when Frankenstein came out in 1931, it was the first brain ever on a movie screen. People thought it was disgusting. All over the country, all over the world, there were cuts demanded. And if the movie wasn't banned outright, they demanded scenes be taken out because they thought they were too disgusting. Now you watch that movie now, and it's hard to say, well, what's the disgusting part? And so each, we keep pushing the envelope, pushing the envelope, pushing the envelope. Where it all leads, I don't know. But when you got your back to the wall, you push the envelope on something: violence, sex, whatever. And somebody always has their back to the wall. So, I watch these older movies and I'm not upset at all, but my great-grandparents probably would have been aghast at what I take for granted. And that may happen with my great-grandkids may take for granted. May be aghast at, I may be aghast at what they're taking for granted. I don't know where it's leading.
We're spending our Halloween, people, with Frank Dello Stritto, the co-author with Andy Brooks of Vampire Over London, Bela Lugosi in Britain. I love the cover of your book. Bela's wonderful eyes looking over a green hue. It's like the Green Lantern meets Bela Lugosi.
Well, that cover was actually done by a neighbor of yours.
Who's that?
Name is an artist named Haig de Magian.
Okay.
And he lives in Gloucester.
Gloucester, where many of my pals live.
In fact, the only time I've ever been to Gloucester was to visit him when the book was being in production.
And you got Willie Alexander of the Velvet Underground up there in Gloucester?
Okay, well, when you ought to get Haig on to interview. I think he's your kind of guy, because he's a lot more with it on a lot of things that interest you than I am.
Oh, set him up. Set him up. You still in touch with him, right?
I haven't been in touch for a while, but I'll use this as an excuse.
Say, you want to be on visual radio with him, because we'll have you on the phone and him in person.
His name is in the book, so if you want to Google him, but I will contact him and tell him.
Yeah, you'll have to send me an email. Because I can't pronounce it. But we have 2.5 minutes left. What would you like to talk about, the book or the Night of the Living Dead?
Let's talk about the Night of the Living Dead.
All right.
It says 1968, so that's 45 years ago. And as I've said before, it takes the world by storm. Let's see, I found that its gross was $12 million in the U.S., $30 million worldwide, and for that time, that was phenomenal. And I actually saw it within a year of its release. I saw it in the Museum of Modern Art because, what you said is quite true. Night of the Living Dead and Rocky Horror Picture Show both have cult followings, but Rocky Horror Picture Show never inspired the interest in all levels of the movie-going world like Night of the Living Dead did. And I went to the Museum of Modern Art to see a showing of it, and it was introduced by the curator of fine arts or something like that, And then at the end of it, and it turns out George Romero was there, and he got up and did a Q&A. So this is at a museum. Within a year, if it's released. Now, you're not surprised when some of these old horror movies show up at a museum 30 years after their release. Oh, we got the cast here, yada, yada. This was in a year, because that was the kind of interest it showed. And
that was in New York?
That was in New York City Museum of Modern Art.
And why were you there?
Well, I'm from New Jersey, and I I used to follow all the museums because that's where I'd see old movies that wouldn't get on TV. You know, it's hard to explain to kids today, but in the pre-video age, you were pretty much at the mercy of what television wanted to show.
And we're at the mercy of the clock. We've got 30 seconds left. You met George Romero. I'm impressed. Our critic met George Romero, the director of Night of the Living Dead. How good is that? Did you get his autograph?
No, but he was a funny guy. I asked him some questions, and when you say I met him, it was him, it was me, and about 600 other people. So it wasn't an intimate thing, but I saw him in the flesh.
And well, happy Halloween. We'll talk more about George Romero next week with our next movie.
Good.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Frank Dello Stritto. Thank you, Judy Kellerman. Thank you, WiNCAM. Thank you, John Byers, Frank Dello Stritto. This is our show. Reeling is on next. Watch Reeling. We're going to have those people in here. And Night of the Living Dead tomorrow.